Hey, what's up, everyone? Back for this Monday slate. Hopefully, you guys all had a great weekend. Yesterday, the saving grace was Lourdes Gurriel. His home run in the ninth inning allowed us to cash on DraftKings and FanDuel. Had him on both, and he was low owned on both. I actually had him as the thumbnail of yesterday's video, so that was clutch, his home run. So let's keep it going today. We have a nice slate for Monday. It's also my birthday today, so two things to be excited about. So be sure to drop a like down below, especially since it's my birthday. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And you can follow me on Twitter at the DFS Process. And let's start it off at pitcher. So at pitcher today, we have a ton of high-priced guys. DraftKings really priced up pitching today. We have like 4 guys above 10,000, 2 above 12,000. And then you also have a bunch of pitchers down here that you can choose from at cheap. We have some weather in the Washington game, so I'm kind of looking at like Sean Anderson as a cheap guy that you can look at only 4,300. We don't really have that much of a mid-range today at pitcher. You have Richards, you can play him, but it's not like he's been pitching well. He's been struggling as of late, and it's not like the White Sox have a sub-4 total or a low 4 total. Their total right now is at 5, so I'm not that confident in him given the way he's pitched. And then besides him, guess you go play Anderson. Guess you go take a chance on Mills, who might be a little popular, but there's just not a lot to work with at mid-range. That's why I'm going to spend up at pitcher, and I'm going to spend all the way down. My spend-up's going to be Clevinger facing a strikeout-heavy Toronto Blue Jays team. He's really looking great. Had 12 strikeouts in his last matchup. He just has a ton of strikeout upside. He's up to 58 in just 35 innings. And now that he's back to a full workload through 100 pitches last start, and we know the Indians' pitching staff routinely goes like 110 pitches. If they're pitching well, 110 to 120, just as Trevor Bauer. And last season, Clevinger also was throwing that many pitches. So now that he's healthy, I expect his pitch count to rise. And the matchup is great. He put up 34 in just 75 pitches against the same team. Just feel like the way he's pitching, he's in for like a 30-point game at least. So I like him at pitcher as my SP1. And then I'm going to take a chance on Sean Anderson all the way down here at 4,300 just because we have some big bats I want to pay up for. He hasn't been terrible. He's been decent. He got rocked in Coors, which I don't really consider... And I don't count that against any pitcher getting rocked in Coors. But besides that, he had a good game against a strong Brewers lineup that was in Milwaukee. He had a good game against the Diamondbacks. He's just been decent, right? He's had a couple 20-point games. He's been okay. You don't need him to go out and have a gem. You don't need him to go out and throw a gem. All I'm looking for is like 10 to 15, maybe get you close to 20. And that's all you really need out of a guy that's $4,300. So if Clevinger goes out there and puts up like 38 DraftKings points, you're not going to need much from Sean Anderson at an SP2. So I like him. Allows you to pay up for some bats. And we do have some really expensive bats that I would like on the slate. So that's where I'm at pitcher. Let's start it off here. At second base, I like Starlin Castro. He is really, really cheap at 3,600, and he's been swinging a very hot bat. As you can see, he's been hitting a ton of multi-hit games. He's had like 4 straight games where he had 2 hits, had a couple 3-hit games this month. If you look at him on Fangraphs, he's really hot right now. And facing Ivan Nova, the Marlins get a huge ballpark upgrade. I was thinking about, before I looked at the prices, I thought they would be a nice plays, but most of them are priced up on DraftKings. Where I want to play the Marlins is on FanDuel, where they're all very cheap. So I'm looking at a Marlins stack on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I like a couple one-offs. I think Castro is at a really good price tag at 3,600. He's just been really good as of late. He hasn't been great against righties, but I think he can stay hot. Ivan Nova is not a good pitcher. He gives up a ton of hits, doesn't strike many out. In the month of July, he's batting .362 with 3 home runs. He's just really hot right now. And on the road, he's been much better than in Marlins Park. .270 average on the road, and more home runs on the road as well. And Ivan Nova is just not a very good pitcher. This season, his ERA is well above 5. He's given up an insane amount of hits. Lefties and righties are hitting him hard, over 300 average, 320 average for both sides, over a 520 slugging for both sides. His home ERA is 7.14, and it's supposed to be prime hitting conditions in Chicago. I'm expecting him to get hit decently hard by this Marlins team. The fact that they get a nice ballpark upgrade. I think he can have I think he's not gonna. I think he's gonna have a pretty poor outing. And a guy like Starlin Castro, who has really flashed his power as of late, makes for an intriguing target. At third base, I like Yuli Gurriel. You can also play him at first base if you want. My main stacks today are going to be the Astros stack. I like them a lot. I like some Diamondbacks hitters, and I like a few, like a one-off and Castro, really. And I like some Indians as well. Those are my main stacks. But Yuli Gurriel is on an incredible hot streak, and he's mashing right-handed pitching. We know Homer Bailey gives up a ton of hard contact, gives up a lot of home runs, gives up a lot of fly balls. The Houston team has an insane amount of power through up and down their lineup. And Gurriel has just been mashing right-handed pitching, batting .299 against righties with 15 home runs. He's just been so good as of late. In July, he's batting .381. He has 10 home runs in just 15 games this month. That is ridiculous. He's just hitting the ball super hard. Against righties, he has a 40% hard hit rate. The fly ball rate is at 40%. And Homer Bailey struggles at keeping the ball in the ballpark. He gives up a lot of, like I said, a lot of fly balls for his career. And the Astros have been swinging, as a team, they've been swinging a lot of the hot bats, and they have been hitting a bunch of home runs. I think that can continue. His struggles this season have been against both sides in terms of power, but righties have hit him for higher average. 287 batting average given up to righties. The xFIP is almost at 5 against righties, and he has a 32% fly ball rate and a 45% hard hit rate given up. I like Gurriel, given the way he's been performing, just so consistent and just been so good. His batting average has raised so much over the past month. In the outfield, another Astro that I like a lot is Yordan Alvarez. At 5,100, I think he's gonna be able to make some solid contact against Bailey. He's just so good. Hits for an incredible amount of power and just hits the ball so hard. Facing Bailey's not a high strikeout pitcher by any means. Alvarez should be able to make some contact, and if he's not striking out, he's usually hitting the ball a long way. Against righties this season, he's batting .342 with 6 home runs and just 76 at-bats. Give him a .329 ISO with a .671 slugging percentage. And against righties, he has a 55% hard hit rate. Just a 5.8% soft contact rate. That's the lowest you'll see out of almost any hitter. And he has a 40% fly ball rate against righties. Love the spot here for Alvarez. And last but not least, I really like Nelson Cruz. I'm not super interested in doing like a full 5-man stack of the Twins, but I like a 2 or 3-man stack. Nelson Cruz is going to be my favorite play just because he's so cheap. I also do like CJ Cron a bunch and Polanco at shortstop and even Marwin Gonzalez. So I do like a 4 or 5 players on the team, but I'm not gonna be stacking a full amount of them. Cruz is just a really, really cheap, facing a lefty and Sabathia, who's really struggled against righties this season. We know Cruz has mashed left-handed pitching his whole career, and this season's not much of a difference. Against lefties, he's batting .258 batting average, but the power is through the roof. 7 home runs and 62 at-bats. He has a .387 ISO and a .645 slugging percentage. And if you look at the numbers for CC Sabathia, he hasn't been having a ton of success against righties, and Cruz is one of the best lefty hitters in baseball. So I think Cruz, given his really cheap price tag, is a priority play in cash games. Against righties, he's given up 14 home runs. He's given up a .518 slugging percentage. He's also been terrible on the road outside of Yankee Stadium. Has given up 11 bombs and has a .584 ERA and a .610 slugging given up. So, and xFIP is at 5 against righties, and he's given up a 40% hard hit rate. I really, really like Nelson Cruz today at this price tag. So those are 6 players that I like. And speaking of some other teams I want to look at, we'll start from the back here. I really do like the Diamondbacks facing. It's basically going to be like a bullpen game from the Orioles. They're going to have Brooks throw a couple innings, but he's not going to be. He's never going to throw very deep into games. They're looking at like 40 pitches out of him. A Diamondback stack looks pretty appealing. They are pretty priced up, but I do like some. I like Marte is my favorite play on the team. I like Adam Jones is cheap at 4,100, and I don't think you can go wrong with like Jake Lamb at 4,100 given his power. I love the Astros. If you look at the Astros today, my favorites are going to be like Alvarez. I like him a ton. I like Brantley, Springer. I like all of them as like a full stack. Even Altuve, he's really hot as of late. The Twins, I'm interested in CJ Cron at that $3,900 price tag. I like him. I like Polanco at just $4,000. And I like Nelson Cruz. The Marlins, they're much more viable on FanDuel, on DraftKings. You have Cooper at $5,000. Tough price tag to eat on DraftKings. We're not getting a ton of bargain on that many players. I think, maybe if Rojas is batting leadoff, he's interesting. And Neil Walker's a decent play. But really, I'm interested in just the catcher and Alfaro and the second baseman and Castro on DraftKings. And the Indians, I like them a little bit. Facing a lefty, Ramirez is on a hot streak. He's finally back to himself. I like him. Lindor is incredibly cheap at $4,500. Luplo and, those are my three. Luplo and Santana's cheap too at $4,300. So a nice four-man stack of those four makes some sense. And that's it. Those are some teams I'm looking at on the slate. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can drop a like if you enjoyed. And good luck today.